Hey, good morning. It's a second cup of coffee kind of morning because I needed it. We had a big day yesterday. But we are on week 5. Are we on week 5? I have to go double check.
We've decided to try the Charlotte Mason method for 12 weeks and see what sticks.
Yes, I think we're on our 5th week of going Charlotte Mason. And so I really just wanted to give you guys an update or a vlog, I guess, update of how the week went. We do have a few books that we're adding in. I have one book that we're taking out. I want to talk to you guys about that and some thoughts specifically on narration that might be relatable. Okay, let's talk about books first. So I had mentioned before that we are doing this Pirates Illustrated book, which has tons of information in it. It's got pictures, it's got information. The first part of it had a bit of pop culture too, like pirates and movies. I feel like we're kind of over it. It's a great book. And if I had a high schooler, I would keep this book and I would have them read it. But there are a few parts in it that I've already had to be like monitoring and skip over as well. And it's come up more than once now that we've had to do that, as well as there's just such exhaustive information in here. So if you had a kid who was obsessed with pirates and the details and all the pirates' lives and their journeys and how everything happened and that kind of thing, and the politics that went on between the countries, this is the book. It's a great book for that. It's very informative. It's very detailed. However, my kids are getting exhausted reading this, and I can just see on their faces they're starting to not consume. Their narration is getting off because I can tell that they're just not interested. They're very interested still in pirates, but it's just too detailed. That's all. And my oldest is 10, so I'm working with kids 10 and under, and this book was too old for them. So I usually don't say that because I believe in reading kind of older than you think for your children. But I would say that this is going to go on our shelf. I'm not going to give this book away or get rid of it. But if we ever come across the Age of Enlightenment again or pirate themes again, when my kids are way older, like I'm thinking grade 9 and up, we will come back to this at that time. So off that one goes. As far as books being added in, I've added in this as just a reading book for my son. It's Carry On Mr. Bowditch. I have never heard of this book, and yet it's like a classic, and a lot of people read it. So that was interesting to me that I hadn't heard about it. The reason I picked it is I was watching some YouTube videos on Plutarch, actually, and it was just an offhand comment from the YouTuber that had said, this is a great classic book for kids. And I was like, well, I kind of want to try it then. I'm sold. So we're adding this in. My son is reading it right now. I'm going to maybe have to get him to help me with a review on this because I'm not reading it to my kids as a read aloud. It's just a reading book for him. The other thing that we're adding in that I just found at a library yesterday, they had a book sale. So for 25 cents, I got this, The History of Science, in the Enlightenment century. So the Golden Age of Pirates couples with the Age of Enlightenment in Western history. And so we've kind of been pairing that. The thing is, this Charlotte Mason plan that we're doing for 12 weeks is a long time. And even though my children love pirates, and they still love it, we're on week 5, they're not tired of it. It's a really long time to stretch out a pirate theme. So I've talked a lot about pirates for like our materials, but what I'm mostly centering around is this Age of Enlightenment. So the science and stuff of that era couples with that too. What's going on in the mainland. The other book that I don't have in front of me, but it's called The Age of Enlightenment. It goes through different biographies from people in that era. Some really big familiar names you'll see there. So I feel like as far as theme goes, I think when I've talked to just people like, oh, what's your theme in school right now? I'm like, oh, we're doing pirates. But really, we're doing the Age of Enlightenment, and pirates is a part of that, which is really fun. Like, it's really fun, you guys. Pirates is cool to learn about. But anyway, I thought this book would be good. It talks about Isaac Newton, and it covers enlightenment and the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution, and it recounts the findings and leading scientists and electricity. And when I kind of look through it, it seems to me, so we haven't started going through it yet, but it seems to me that not only does it talk about the science in that day, but it also has some quotes from different scientific places that were more well known. There was some Voltaire quotes in here, like larger sections. And what I'm hoping that this also has is like, here's how they did science. It's not like how we do it today in this way type of thing. Like, like when scientists got it wrong. I don't know if this book has that, but I'm hoping for that. So we will see. But I'm looking forward to going through. I think given that we only have, let's see, we have 7 weeks left in our plan. I may skip some sections. I maybe will go through this one. I usually don't like to do that. I want to keep planning as simple as possible. So it's like, here's the number of pages divided by 12. That's how much we have to read in a week. Because we have a 12-week plan. So I don't pre-read stuff. I would rather monitor as I go. I do most of the reading aloud, or I take turns with my kids doing the read aloud stuff. So, but I think for this one, because we're kind of like making our way to halfway through this Charlotte Mason trial, I may pick and choose what we read from here. The other thing I wanted to mention about something that I need to tweak that I'm seeing. So this is what this trial is all about. What are we seeing? What do we need to change? How are we going to go forward with this? I think I am loving it. I, at this point, can see us continuing on in a very Charlotte Mason style going forward. I will never be boxed in. I refuse to stick a label on myself that boxes me in, okay? So I'm not going to be sold out completely and only to Charlotte Mason. However, I am really loving the vibe. If that doesn't sound too trendy. But anyways, one of the things I'm noticing is I have circled certain things on our schedule that tend to take more than that 10 to 20 minute window. Specifically readings from Robinson Crusoe. Those chapters are long, and I have us reading 2 chapters a week, and it's a lot. It's in like slightly older English, so it does take more brain power to listen to the story. So that's one thing I need to break up more, and I have some options in my head. Either I do Robinson Crusoe on more than one day, which I don't really want to do because I just like the simplicity of the schedule, how it is. What I'm probably going to try first is we'll set a time and we'll listen to 15 minutes of it. We'll narrate it. We'll have a break, and we'll try to bring that read aloud with us in the middle of our morning playtime or in the middle of our afternoon playtime, even outside, and try to sneak in more like 15-minute segments of reading, even 10-minute segments of reading in the times that would otherwise be free. So I need to break it up, though. I'm seeing that. So Robinson Crusoe was one of those. Even Pirate's Passage, this one, it's just a fictional, nothing important novel that we just chose. Long chapters and more than 10 minutes, and that wouldn't be a problem. My kids can listen for a long time to reading and comprehend enough, but as far as narration goes, that's where we're having trouble. I'm finding for good narration to happen, I need to stop after 10 minutes. I need to stop, and I need to ask them to narrate. And even for my 8-year-old, I need to stop even more than that. Every section, every few paragraphs, have him narrate back to me. That's partly his age, and it's partly just how his brain works. He's like me. I can have information and love it, and then out it goes. It's gone. Where'd it go? Whereas my oldest son, he just remembers every single detail of every single thing he sees and hears and reads. So he's amazing at comprehension. I am not, and my middle son is not, and I am seeing a need for narration after shorter chunks, and then possibly just doing some of these bigger reads in shorter chunks. The Pirates Illustrated was another one that I circled, but we're gonna, I think, put that book to rest. The introduction was great. I'm happy with the information that we did cover, but now it's getting into too much detail. And then, Age of Enlightenment. I have us, to get through our book, which is not a big book, I have 2 to 3 biographies or chapters that we're doing when it's Age of Enlightenment Day, which is Wednesday afternoons. I scheduled a half an hour for it. That is enough. Half an hour is enough. But what I'm finding is there's a lot of information, and if we're reading 3 biographies, it's at my kids' ages, it's just nicer to do one biography and narrate about it, then another one and narrate about it. So these are all things that I'm considering pausing let's maybe break it up and have even a 10-minute exercise break, a 15-minute walk, something in between. And that's very Charlotte Mason, like especially in the younger years. Charlotte Mason was really all about the 10-minute segment. I hear a lot of people, maybe in her volume 6, I'll learn more about 20 minutes, because I hear a lot of Charlotte Mason people talking about a 20-minute segment, and keeping like lessons short and enjoyable, right? And I want that for sure. So what I'm finding is our biggest change for narration that I want to do is give my kids smaller bits to narrate, because the bigger the chunk, the more time narration, the if your kids don't like writing, like I get my oldest to do a combination of written and verbal narration back to me. And if it's written, he doesn't want to write that much. And especially at one time. So shorter is better for written narration for him. And for my middle son, he needs shorter chunks as well, just for verbal narration. So what I'm finding is that's what I need to fix, and I think I can fix it pretty easily. And I don't think I'm going to change my schedule as far as what we do during the days. So if you're curious about this week, this schedule, oh, you know what? This is week 6. We're on week 6 because we were sick one week. So I said week 5, but we took a week off because we all got sick. Anyways, I think it's my week 4 update video that goes through a very detailed schedule. I share everything that we're doing in our schedule with you guys. So I don't think that's going to change much, except that we're just going to take some of those longer reads and break them up. And I could see this being a habit that goes on into the future too. So yeah, let's break everything into 10-minute segments. So that's kind of my vlog updates. Nothing else much has changed. We're getting through things really well, even with our sick weeks and stuff like that. Theology and the scripture memory is still going really well. I still absolutely love doing Old Testament, New Testament readings with recitation. So if you missed it, like recitation doesn't have to be memorized speaking. It's just reading so well that your audience, or whoever your hearer is really engaged. And so we've been using our Bible, New Testament, Old Testament reading times for that, which has been really fun. So we're going to swap that Pirates Illustrated time for this. I'm just going to swap it directly. I did not schedule in the Carry On Mr. Bowditch novel, because that's just to do in my kid's free time. He loves reading, so that's helpful. So Age of Enlightenment is still going really well. Really appreciating the biographies in there. That'll be a really great book to, like, I think in the future when we want to tie in certain people. I'm really glad to have that one in my library, because the little shorter biographies are really nice to have. Age of Pirates from Wonder House Creative, that's still going really well. We're over half done that one. We'll actually have some room at the end of this, because we're probably going to end that in about 3 or 4 more weeks. And then Home Geography is still going really well. It's really short lessons. I actually really like that. Like, it was, what's it called? Who's the CC Long, I think, is who writes it. And Home Geography, it's just like this short little snippets of information that starts off. We're still doing like direction and what direction does the sun come up, and the compass and stuff like that. And the compass was a nice little pirate tie-in too. But yeah, I'm loving, and I'm seeing my kids are loving when they get a short little bit of information. And when you give them their narration books or their copywork books after they've had a little bit of information, boy, are they confident. They're confident at what they want to write down or what they want to diagram or sketch, because they, especially my younger kids, they feel like they can hold on to that information and they know what to write. The bigger the chunk of information you give them, now they're kind of scratching their heads and they're kind of like, okay, I think I remember this, but how does that work together with that? And did I cover everything? And, oh, Mom, this is what I remember. And I can just see that they're concerned about maybe not remembering everything. So shorter chunks, that's our theme for this week's vlog. So that's really good. And I think that is something that you just kind of have to identify as you use resources. And I think we have to be okay either with skipping or with letting certain materials go outside of our like term schedule, right? Like this timetable. Again, I've never used a timetable or a schedule before, and at least not for long term. But it's actually working out pretty well, and like we're really crossing off a lot of stuff. So I'm like, maybe this is working. Maybe we're gonna be schedule people. I kind of like it. And even if it's not, I don't like a schedule with a calendar, but to just have like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, because we were sick for week 3. So that's okay. We can still do week 3 the next week. Like, so I like that. Also, other thoughts. I think as far as in the future, maybe I'll talk about this more as we get to the end, but I think in the future, I don't think I'm going to make my terms 12 weeks. I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but I think I might do like 8-week terms or 10-week terms. So there's two things I see with that. Pause on the positive side. If you do have interruptions, you can extend it longer. The other positive is that if you have a theme like pirates and you're sick of it, 8 weeks is a nicer length of time than 12. Again, our theme is Age of Enlightenment, so I don't mind doing it for this long. But I think I would have taken maybe my pirate resources and maybe we could have focused on pirates for the first 5 weeks and then something else for the next 5 weeks or something like that. The negative side of that, though, is there are some materials already with a 12-week schedule that I was like, we're going to have to do a lot of reading in this book every day to get it done in 12 weeks for the larger books. And again, as I was talking about today, we need shorter bites. So that's just the thing. If you have materials that fit within your theme, because I'm all about the unit study style. I know a lot of Charlotte Masoners are probably like, that's why we don't do unit studies. Okay, that's great, but I still like to tie in things. So that's just going to be, that's my conundrum though, is I think we need to make our term a little shorter and we need to somehow keep shorter reading segments. And so we're just going to have to do some troubleshooting with the materials that are very themed that we want to fit into a shorter, like 10-week term or less. So I'm still brainstorming that. If you have ideas, you can let me know. But I want to keep that unit study style, that, connecting themes. I just want to. It's not Charlotte Mason. It's just something that I like to do and I know my kids like. And then I need to keep things family style as well. So I can't just be like, well, oldest one, you go do that. I mean, I can for some stuff that the youngest kids don't want to do, but we try to do as much together as possible. That's how we like it, and I love that. So I don't want to change that. Grammar, the Charlotte Mason grammar is still going great. I love it. My kids love it. I'm only doing it with my oldest, but he loves it. Storybook of Science is still going great. My kids still love it. I am unsure of how accurate and up to date it is scientifically, but there's no red flags so far that I have seen. We're only through 8 chapters of that book. Yeah, and we're still learning like a hymn and a song. Our poetry is still going really well. I love it where we read a new poem from the same poet every week, but we're memorizing one poem for this whole 12-week duration. I want this term to be done and have my kids know the Psalm of Life like really, really well. And we are saying it with such inflection. I bet you I should have them come on and like do it as like a little YouTube short or something like that, because we've really emphasized inflection with the different meaning of the words instead of like having that really like pentameter tone or whatever you call it, where you kind of like follow the poem's rhythm. We're focusing more on speaking the poem with emphasis on the meanings of the poem, and it's more easily interpreted and stuff that way. So I'm really having fun with that, and the kids are loving it too. And so having a little recitation, it doesn't take us very long every day. It's like, okay, everybody, follow me, follow my lead. And we say the poem and we practice, and it's fun. Yeah, we're reading Pirate's Passage, Robinson Crusoe, and poetry. So that's all on this paper of all the things that we're doing. Our schedule isn't changing very much. I'm loving keeping Fridays lighter. For nature appreciation, like we're not doing piano, but nature appreciation and art and composer in the afternoons. We need to be better maybe at being consistent with that. There have been sometimes where we're just kind of doing something in a rush, like, okay, well, let's go for a walk now and we'll look at something, or let's grab a nature book. I feel like that's just fine. I don't think that we need to do a whole curriculum over it or whatever. I love Nature Study Club though, so when we get home and we print off the next nature study club, that would be perfect for nature appreciation. But it's springtime, and I feel like nature appreciation comes so naturally right now. So I'm not too worried about that one. But for composer and artist study, I actually did pick up a book of, the cover's actually a little bit ugly. It's got like a skull on it. But I picked up this Golden Age of Dutch art, and inside the art in here was kind of cool. So this kind of goes with the era, the Age of Enlightenment era. It crosses over. So I wanted the kids to just look at some of the art in there. I thought we'd do that for art appreciation. We were doing Howard Pyle, who's really well known for pirate art. So we're doing that while we were at home, and now that we're away, I didn't bring all the printouts with it, but we went through most of the pieces that I printed there. And we had done a Robin Hood unit this year, so they know who Howard Pyle is, and we've learned about his biography and stuff. So I think it was about time to switch up our artist anyways. However, a composer, I need to get better at playing the music for the composer. Like Charlotte Mason always, like, she, not always, but in her book, she said once, I think once, in volume 1, that if a child could learn and listen to a composer for long enough that they could just identify them in, if they were, say you were walking in a store and classical music happened to come on, that they would maybe be able to identify, oh, I know who that is. Yeah, we haven't been listening to music that much. So I would like to get into more of a habit of playing that background music. It just seems like we don't listen to a lot of just music in the house. I feel like we go through times where we do, so I need to get in the habit of just playing some classical music. So that was another thing that I could probably do a bit better at. It's easy to do the biography day, like, learn about a composer. Here we go. Let's read about them. There's lots of resources online for that. I didn't buy a book for it. We're just like doing research online, and then we can listen to their music. So I need to do better at that. I think we're gonna switch though. We chose a composer from our time period who I just didn't enjoy, to be honest. I forget his name already. It's gonna come to me. Anyway, I did share about it in our first video, but I think we're gonna switch to Mozart. There's quite a few composers that would fit in, and I just thought, let's do something well-known. Let's do something where I actually enjoy listening to the music, which would be nice if I want to play it in my house all the time. So anyway, feel like I'm rambling now, but I kind of want to give you all the bits and pieces of my thoughts as we're going through this, which here they are. These are them. And yeah, I'm really excited. I really think it's a good idea to go into something like this with your own little experiment. I'm so happy that I didn't like go for a curriculum or something I had to spend money on. I did buy a few books, but we've been heavily using the library and what we had in our own home. And then just like making our own little schedule. And it's really, really been worthwhile. And I can already see I'm so much more knowledgeable on how to make this work for our family going forward. I'm really excited to plan the next term. So I think it's going to be really good. And yeah, so that is this week's vlog update. Week 6, not week 5. Watch it be week 7. I don't know. We kind of lost a week and then we had like moving week, but I'm pretty sure it's week 6. Shoot. Anyway, I will double check and I'll make sure that the title page for this video is correct. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great homeschool week and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.